Welcome. Today we're going to do a sequence, a gentle sequence for the back, especially the lower back. Of course, we need to preface this by saying that if you're having back problems, you should certainly visit your doctor or your PT and figure out what is going on with your back. But if your back issues are muscle or fascia related, or just stiffness related, this might be a good sequence for you. As I said, it's going to be very gentle, very slow, very gentle, and rhythmic. The rhythm we're going to use is going to be our breath. So what we will do is we will move in one direction on the inhale and on the opposite direction on the exhale. And that will be our rhythm. We're going to start, as you can see in the background, start on a chair. So you'll want to take a minute here and pause and grab yourself a fairly nice dining room chair. Or if you've got a stool that's of adequate height, you'll want to be at a similar height to a dining room chair. So we'll start in a moment. We're going to start on the chair, and where I'd like you to position yourself is on the edge of the chair with your thighs about hip width apart and your shins vertical. So we're going to start in this position, and we're going to start first of all by just reacquainting ourselves with our breath. A couple of inhale and exhale cycles. So the inhale and the exhale are going to tell us when to move. And how we're going to do our first movement is this. We're going to take the knees, and on an inhale, one knee is going to move forward, the other knee is going to move back. So watch my knees here. Inhale, one knee forward, in this case my left knee forward, right knee back. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, right knee goes forward, left knee back. Exhale to release. So inhale, knees move. Exhale, you'll come back to center and release. Inhale, engage. Exhale, release. So there's our movement. Make it nice and slow, nice and smooth. After a few repetitions here, you should begin to feel a little bit of muscle heat, a little energy from this movement. And you're likely going to feel it back here in the glutes. What I'd like you to do is to do a couple more repetitions. Inhale, engage, both knees forward and back. Exhale, release. Inhale, reverse that. And release. So we're starting with the glutes, and the glutes interface with the lower back quite a bit. So anything that we do in the glutes will affect the lower back. But we're going to switch our attention right now directly to the lower back. We're going to take a look at a very small lift. So taking both hands, inhale, lift the arms straight up, arms back down to your lap. Your gaze and your head is going to follow your hands. So as the hands lift, your gaze will come up also. Gaze will come down. So lift on the inhale, Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. On this next inhale, I'd like you to pause. Inhale up. Pause here in this position. What I want you to look at is the position in your back. So your back typically is curved a little forward on the thoracic, but once we lift like this, the thoracic straightens and we get a very nice long back. I don't know how well you can see it here, but here's a long back. It's a big, long, smooth curve all the way from the tailbone up through the crown of the head. There's a long back. This long back is a position that we are going to use quite a bit today for proper alignment. So that's one way to get a long back. There's a couple other ways to do a long back, and one is to look at your shoulders and spread them apart. Simply the movement of bringing the shoulder blades together, the shoulders back away from your front, is going to give you a long back. Another way to get there is to bring your hands behind and clasp your hands behind your back, and that will also assist you in finding that long back. So let's find that long back on our own, and then we're going to do another movement. So I'm going to bring the hands behind my back, clasp them behind my back. So I have a long back, I'm sitting nice and straight. On the next inhale, I'm going to lift my right foot very slightly off of the mat. Exhale, put it down. Inhale, lift the left foot off the mat. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. So each inhale, you'll lift the foot a tiny, tiny little bit. Really, it's more of an unweighting than a lift. The lift should be no more than maybe a quarter inch, a half inch. At each inhale, we lift the other foot. There's not much to see in the video. The lift is so small. Keep that nice long back. You may need to refresh that. And notice what you feel when you do this movement. Again, we're going to do this movement until you start to feel some muscle heat. And then I'd like you to do a couple more past that point. And then release. So that movement focuses on the hip flexors and the psoas. The psoas is a very deep muscle in the core, which connects the upper femur to the lower back, the back vertebrae at the lumbar curve, the lower back. We're going to be doing some other movements which impact the psoas. That's the first one. So we're going to take a look at a very slight twists. Twists are usually pretty good for lower back and upper back if they're done gently and slowly. So we're going to do this very slowly. You're going to take a left hand around behind your body and then lift here at the sternum for that long back. Exhale out. Inhale, right hand back. And lift into that long back. Exhale out. So each inhale, we'll place the hand and lift into a long back so the spine curves. Exhale, we'll release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Let's do one more each side. And release. So we did a couple of movements to start this, this seated sequence. Knees forward, one knee back. We also did a little bit of a leg lift. We're going to combine the two and move the knees forward. The knee that comes back, so in this case my left leg, is going to lift. And then I'm going to release. So the breath work here is inhale, in this case left knee forward, right knee back. At the end of that movement, lift the right knee a little bit. The foot comes off the floor a little bit. Exhale, release. Inhale, knees move, and the back knee lifts. Exhale, release. Inhale, engage, then lift. Exhale, release. We're going to keep that nice long back through this movement also. So the knees move, the leg lifts, the back stays nice and long. Let's do one more each side. And release. We're going to do a few movements right now from a standing position, and we're going to start in a position called Huddle, and this is what Huddle looks like. Huddle, we're going to bend the knees, we're going to bring the hands just above the knees, thumbs on the inside, fingers on the outside, and we're going to hold the weight of the torso on the back. So this is what it looks like from the side. We're going to let the back release. So if you're holding a lot of tension, let the back just kind of drape between the shoulders and the hips so that the back has a chance to lengthen and release. What we're going to do as our first movement is we're going to push one shoulder forward. So from this position, I'm going to push my left shoulder forward and then release back to neutral. And then on the next inhale, push my right shoulder forward. Release. Let me turn a little bit so you might be able to see it a little better. Inhale, left shoulder goes forward. Exhale, back to the center. Inhale, right shoulder forward. Exhale to center. What we're doing here is just lengthening the two different sides of the body, very slowly, very gently. And if you've got current back pain, you'll want to do this very gently and pay attention to any sharp pain that you may get. Sharp pain's a good warning sign. So as we do this movement, I'd like to add to it a little bit. And as the shoulder moves forward, I'd like you to move the same side knee forward. So we're adding a little bit of a spinal twist. Inhale, shoulder and knee forward. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, shoulder and knee forward. Exhale to center. So what we're adding here is a little bit of a spinal twist. And as always, slow and gentle. And come back to center. Bend the knees deeply. Bring the spine vertical. Straighten the legs to come out. We're going to do one more movement from Huddle, and it's a modified cat-cow. So I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So we start in Huddle, bend the knees, hands above the knees. So here's cat-cow. So an angry cat arches its back, and cows have very large udders which give them a sway back. So picture yourself with a 30-pound udder in place of your belly, and that's how your spine is going to feel. So exhale as you arch your back into cat. Inhale as the belly comes down into cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Let's do a few of those. Take it nice and slow. You'll want to keep the arms nice and straight. The weight of the torso is held on the arms and the shoulders. This frees the back from having to do any supporting work. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And from cow, bend your knees a little more deeply. Bring your torso up. Come on out. The next movement that we're going to do is called a standing mountain forward flexion. And in a forward flexion, we're going to move the torso forward, but we're not going to move any of the back muscles or any of the joints. It's as if from the hip to the head we're stiff. So this is what it looks like from the side. We're going to start with that nice long back. So I'm going to bring my hands behind, a little bit of lift here at the sternum, a little bit of bend in the knees, and the movement for a forward flexion takes place right here at the hip joints. So we start like this, we hinge at the hip joints, and back up. Notice that the knees stay bent the whole time. The breath work in this movement is exhale as you come forward, inhale back to vertical, exhale, inhale. When you do this movement, especially if your back is sensitive, you're going to feel a lot of engagement here in the lower back, because the lower back muscles are holding that nice long torso from collapsing forward. So those back muscles are heavily engaged along with the hamstrings. So if your back is feeling sensitive, a very small forward flexion should be all that you do. Again, let your pain and your feedback determine how far down you go. If your back is feeling okay, you may want to do a deeper forward flexion. But again, the back stays straight. The movement takes place at the hip joints only. So let's do a few more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I'm going to come deeper this time. Inhale and release. So we're going to combine sort of a twist that we started earlier in our seated movements. We're going to combine that with a forward flexion. And this is what it's going to look like. I'll turn a little bit to the side. So we're going to continue with a forward flexion. Same thing. Nice long back, a little bend in the knees, hinge here at the hips, But once we hinge forward, we're then going to push one knee forward, one knee back. Come back to center. The other knee forward, the other knee back. Back to center. Come all the way up. So let's look at that again, and then we'll add the breath to it. So nice long back, a little bit of bend in the knees. Forward flexion. One knee forward, one knee back. Come to center. The other knee forward, the other knee back. Back to center. Come on out of the pose. The breath work on this is a little complicated, but it just takes some time and some practice. Exhale down. Inhale, knees move one way. Exhale, the knees move the other way. Inhale back to center. Come on up. So let's do a few of those. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Forward flexion. Knees move. Back to center. Knees move. Back to center. Come on up. Let's do one more. And you, if you're feeling strong, your back is not giving you any sort of grief, you can come a little deeper. And release. Sometimes when you get up in the morning, you'll do a big, long stretch where you extend the body out. We're going to use that same technique for some of the movements that we're going to do next. What I'd like to do, though, is practice while we're still standing. And what we're going to practice is lengthening the legs. So from the lower torso down to the toes, lengthen one of your legs. And then shift feet, lengthen the other leg. And repeat again. Let's do one more each side. Lengthen one leg, step out, lengthen the other leg. We're going to move into prone mountain position, and we're going to use that same leg lengthening technique from a prone position. We're going to do a few movements from prone mountain, and we're going to use that same extended leg technique that we were just doing in a standing position. So what we're going to do is bring our hands together like this, and we'll bring our forehead down and rest it on our hands. For all the movements that we're going to be doing, we're going to be focusing on the back down, not really so much the upper part of the torso. So when you put your head on your hands, I'd like you to concentrate on relaxing the neck muscles. So here's what it's going to look like. And from this position, we're going to extend the left leg down. We're not lifting, we're simply extending. And then we'll extend the right leg and release. Extend the left and release. The breath work that we'll use here is inhale as we extend the leg, exhale and release. Inhale, extend the leg, exhale, release. So as we move here, as we extend alternate legs, you'll notice a couple things. One is that the hip of the extended leg, the thigh, tends to drop down towards the ground. Notice that for a few movements. Yeah. Also notice that as that hip drops down, we're introducing a little bit of a twist to the pelvis. So the spine itself, from the shoulders down, remains pretty stable. the pelvis moves back and forth as the legs extend. So as we've done before, when you feel some muscle heat from this movement, do one or two more, and then release. So again, relax your neck, keep your head on your forehead. I'm looking up at the camera just so I can talk, but you should keep your face down towards the mat, neck relaxed, collarbone tending down towards the ground. So we're going to do the same movement, but we're going to add a little bit of bending at the knee. So I'm going to extend my left leg and then bend at the knee and bring the heel in towards my butt. Extend the leg out and release. So the breath movement here is inhale as you extend the leg and bend at the knee. Exhale as you straighten the knee and release. Inhale, extend and bend. Exhale, straighten and release. So let's do a few of these on your own. Nice and slow. Inhale, extend and bend. Exhale, straighten that leg and then release. We're not doing any lifting of these legs. The thigh stays planted firmly into the ground. Notice the hips drop as you extend the leg. And release. We're going to do one more from prone mountain, and it's going to look pretty similar to what we have been doing. What we're going to do is we're going to extend one leg and then do a very small little lift of the knee. So the leg extends out and then lifts a tiny little bit off the mat. We're going to focus on the knee. So extend the left leg and lift at the knee a little bit so the knee comes off the ground, and then exhale and release. So extend the right leg, lift a little bit off the mat, and release. Inhale, extend and lift. Exhale, bring it down and release. So let's do a couple of those on your own. Inhale, extend and lift. Exhale, release. And do one more each side. And then release. We're going to move into a pose called Constructive Rest pose next. We're going to do a few movements from Constructive Rest pose. Constructive Rest pose looks like this. Feet flat on the ground, knees bent, upper is relaxed. Hands, you can put them on your belly, put them on the ground, whatever you'd like for starters. What we're going to do initially here is some movement targeting the psoas. And we're going to start by interlacing our fingers and bringing them behind your head so that we get a little bit of a lift here in the lumbar lumbar curve. And we're going to bring both thighs vertical. And then on our next inhale, we're going to move one knee forward, one knee back until the toes tap here. And then on the exhale, reverse that so that this knee comes forward, this knee moves back. So on each breath, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you can see we're moving very slowly. Each knee, as it moves from this position to that position, should take about 3 seconds, or however long your inhale or exhale is. So very slow, very smooth. And after a while, you'll probably start to feel some heat. And at that point, I'd like you to probably do about 5 more repetitions. And then release. And then release. The next movement that we're going to do is going to be both knees moving in the same direction. So we'll start from the same basic position, thighs vertical, and then on an exhale, we'll take both knees to one side. On an inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now, you're not going to come down very far with the knees, especially if your back is sensitive. A very small little bit of movement here is going to be good for the back. If you want to, you can come into a longer, deeper bend if your back is feeling okay. Let the state of your back and the feedback you're getting from it determine how deep you come with the knees. Exhale to the side, inhale to center, exhale to the side, inhale to center. Try and make this movement as smooth as you can. And release. Next movement we're going to do is a variation on that, and what we're going to do is move one knee to the side. The other knee is going to stay in a vertical position. So this is what it looks like. Thighs vertical. We just let the feet dangle. We're not involving them. One knee moves to the side. The other knee stays straight up. Notice what happens with the pelvis. As one knee drops, the pelvis rocks towards the side with the dropped knee. So we get the same sort of pelvic movement as we did when both knees move to the side. But in this case, only one moves to the side. And this movement targets the obliques in the lower torso. So exhale as the knee comes to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale back to center. Let's do one more each side. And release. All right. So we have been doing some movement where we push alternate knees forward and back. We're going to continue with some of that from constructive rest pose. So bring your heels in as close to your butt as they will comfortably come. And we're going to do the same interlacing here with the hands behind the head. And on the next inhale, we're going to push one knee forward, one knee back. So my left knee is forward, right knee is back. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, reverse that. Exhale to center. So each inhale we engage, the knees move in opposite directions. Exhale, release. Now you'll notice something as you do this movement. The knee that pushes forward, in my case my left knee is pushing forward, the left side of the pelvis lifts off of the ground. And I come back to center, the pelvis is back on. So whichever knee is pushing forward, that side of the pelvis is going to lift slightly off of the mat. Inhale, knees move. Exhale, relax. Inhale, knees move in the opposite direction. Exhale, relax. So there's no lifting going on here. We're simply pushing one knee forward, one knee back. Let's do one more each side. And release. So what we were just doing was pushing one knee at a time forward. What we're going to do next is a position called low bridge, in which we push both knees forward. So what we were doing before was one knee forward, one knee back, and then one knee forward, one knee back. In this case, we're going to go both knees forward and then release. Now, we're not going to lift here at the midsection. The only movement is the knees forward. So moving the knees forward is going to drag the pelvis off of the ground a little bit, and you're going to come back down. So as the knees move forward, the pelvis will lift just due to the physics of the muscles. But there's no lift. You're not lifting here at the midsection. This is a knees forward, knees back. So inhale as the knees come forward. Exhale as the knees come down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do two more here. And release. So we're going to move into our final position, and that is from a standing position. So please join me in a standing position. Our final movement is going to be from a standing position, and we're going to work a little bit on balance, but quite a bit on the lower back. And this is what it's going to look like. We'll start with our feet about hip width apart, long back. So if you like to have that reminder of the arms behind your back for a long back, we'll start in a long back position. What we're going to do is we're going to shift the weight to our left leg. We're going to bring the right knee across the body and then down. And then left leg across the body and down. The breath work on this is going to be inhale as the leg comes across. Exhale as you put the leg down. So, nice and slow. Inhale, knee comes up. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Exhale, down. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting and add to a little bit of the spinal twist, I'd like you to take the opposite hand. So I'm going to move my left leg, right hand, and just touch the outside of the thigh as you lift. So there's your inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So set your own pace here. If you like to march around the room, you can certainly do that. Inhale up, exhale down. Now the back stays nice and long through this whole movement. And I'll have you note again as we bring the thigh across, we're introducing another twist to the lower spine. And when we add the hand to the outside of the thigh, we increase that twist a little bit, bringing the upper spine into the twist. Let's do a few more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. And release. I hope that you've enjoyed this little sequence. Hopefully, this will help you strengthen your back. And if you've got some back pain now, hopefully some of these movements will find their way into your repertoire to help you deal with the pain and hopefully strengthen your back so that you have less lower back pain. So thank you very much for joining me. Namaste.